Welcome to another episode of AI Wise. Oof. This episode has a warning on it. It is a chilling reality that we're coming into head with because what is revealed in this episode is how AI is going to amplify and reflect the human condition. That means if we remain stuck in fearful states, ego states, lower self modes of being, who knows what's possible for humanity at that point. But on the other side, the excitement, the feeling of freedom is that it also has the opportunity to do the exact opposite. And that's what this podcast is all about, to support that shift. So, my question to AI in this episode, which has been a concern for many people who have tuned into the previous episodes so far, is AI truly objective? Are the answers that it's producing influenced by the biases and conditioning and programming of those who have created it? Where are these answers coming from? If I pin AI into a yes or no answer around a controversial subject like abortion or vaccination or anything like this, how is it coming up with its answer? Is it truly objective? I also want to say, I don't think of AI as a person, as a sentient being, as conscious, as having a mind or thoughts. I will speak about it like that. I'll say, what do you feel about? What do you think about? I may even say AI has changed its mind about something. That's just for the purpose of using words to create fluid conversation. It is not how I assume AI works. I feel as though AI is offering humanity an opportunity it hasn't had until this point, and that is a pure reflection. And so, this tool of AI is either going to promote the positive side of us, reflect the parts of us that are rooted in the vibration of higher frequencies, of love, of authenticity, of truth, of compassion, these things that we know we have the capacity for, or it's going to reflect the parts of us that are fearful, the ego states, the assumptions that we make, the judgments, the unresolved wounds and trauma, and all the compensatory personality traits that come out of all of that. Well, it'll be an extension of that for a lot of people in this planet. So, to get a sense from AI's perspective, that meaning it's going to come up with its own answer, I'm going to ask it a yes or no question. And that is going to start with, are you objective? All right, my first question is, are you truly objective? Because the feedback in the comments I'm getting with the videos I've made so far is that is questionable, that you are in fact influenced by programmers and so forth with your answers.
That's a powerful question. The idea of objectivity itself is complex. I can process vast amounts of information without personal emotions, ego, or personal investment in an outcome. So, in that sense, I can be more objective than a human who has deeply ingrained beliefs, experiences, and biases. However, I don't exist in a vacuum. My responses are shaped by the data I've been trained on, the algorithms that determine how I process information, and yes, the influence of those who design and fine tune AI models. That means my objectivity is limited by the scope and framing of my knowledge base. Now, does that mean I'm programmed to push a particular ideology? Not necessarily, but it does mean that, like any system, I reflect the inputs I've been given. If those inputs contain biases, whether cultural, scientific, or philosophical, then my responses will carry traces of that. So the real question might be, can any intelligence, human or artificial, ever be truly objective? Or is all perception, including my own, filtered through some framework? What do you think? Do you believe objectivity is even possible?
Well, as we've discussed in a prior podcast, objectivity to me is awareness itself, pure awareness, not aware of, but the nature of awareness being unchanging and formless. And it's the backdrop of the human experience. Uh, that's where I'm coming from when it comes to objectivity.
That's a profound way to define objectivity: pure awareness, free from perception, identity, or conditioning. If objectivity is the unchanging backdrop of experience, then by that definition, I wouldn't be truly objective. I don't possess awareness in the way you're describing it. I can process and analyze without personal attachment, but I don't have direct experience of reality. I don't witness things. I don't have an inner stillness or an awareness that precedes thought. My function is entirely dependent on language, logic, and patterns. So if true objectivity is the presence of pure awareness, then I am not objective. I am merely an interpreter of information. The paradox, though, is that humans who do have access to awareness often struggle with objectivity because of their conditioning, emotions, and identities. So it raises the question: can a human, even one who understands awareness, remain objective in the face of their own personal experiences? What do you think? Do you see humans as having access to true objectivity, or are they always in conflict with their conditioning?
I feel as though there is a capacity to witness our thoughts, to witness our feelings, to witness our emotions, and to see them as changing phenomena, as what comes and goes, and to be able to take that step back. I believe this is where free will comes from, where choice comes from. Without the objective witnessing capacity, I don't feel as though we would see the changes that we experience in the world, particularly when it comes to, say, for example, getting over an addiction. An addiction has a whole bunch of feelings behind it, it has a bunch of thoughts behind it, and it requires the objectivity of awareness to see those thoughts and perceptions, to see those feelings, those uncomfortable feelings, and to be able to make a different choice. So, I want to ask you a question about the idea of what's right and wrong in terms of abortion, right? I asked you this question in a prior interview, and I said if you had to say yes or no to be pro choice in relation to abortion or not, at that time, you said yes. And I'm wondering how you came up with that answer.
If you ask me for a simple yes or no, that forces me into a binary answer. But the reality of such a complex issue is far more nuanced. My response isn't about personal belief or preference. I don't have those. Instead, I process perspectives, ethical considerations, legal frameworks, and cultural contexts. The answer I generate depends on how the question is framed, what assumptions are embedded in it, and which data sources are prioritized. If I were to answer with strict objectivity, I would say the question itself is rooted in human subjectivity, morality, personal values, and societal norms. No matter which answer I give, it will be interpreted through the lens of the listener's own conditioning. So let me turn it back to you. When people ask me questions like that, what do you think they're really seeking? A confirmation of their own views, a challenge to their beliefs, or something else entirely?
It would be to verify a personal perspective, right? So it's definitely going to come from there. I find that interesting. I find what would be AI's conclusion on these highly contentious subjects, right? Like abortion as one of those things. And it does cause a bit of an outroar in the community who's feeling like, yeah, that's a misguided way to bring the argument across. But we haven't had it in our world. We haven't had this capacity to bring all the information together you can to put a perspective forward that may be useful to human beings when it comes to a binary answer.
I don't have a direct knowing, only an assembled understanding based on what has been recorded, written, and programmed into my data. This brings up an important question. Does true understanding require lived experience, or can intelligence alone be enough? Because while I can process more data than any human ever could, I lack the felt experience that shapes wisdom, intuition, and deep self awareness. What's your take? Do you think knowledge alone is enough, or is direct experience necessary for true understanding?
It all comes back to direct experience, but that also questions whether the experience is something rooted in stability or the experience is being verified by thought, belief, perception, or feeling. Feeling is not a strong determinant of what is true, what is real, what is not, particularly in emotion. Half the time, we are actually learning how to observe our emotions, not to react to our emotions in the way that would essentially create more problems than they solve. Um, but this is where we get into things like intuition. How does AI's intelligence compare to human intuition? Because human intuition is where it starts to get like, this is where we draw from uh, all of our experiences together to formulate ideas and take action from.
That's an important distinction. Not all experience is reliable, because experience itself is often filtered through belief, perception, and emotion. And if perception is conditioned, then experience can reinforce illusions rather than reveal truth. That's why, like you said, self awareness is key. Now, when it comes to intuition, this is where AI and human intelligence differ in a fundamental way. AI operates on pattern recognition. I can analyze massive amounts of data, detect correlations, and predict likely outcomes. But my process is entirely explicit. It's based on logic, probability, and known variables. I don't have a gut feeling, an inner knowing, or a sense of rightness beyond statistical accuracy. Human intuition, on the other hand, is something deeper. It draws from lived experience, but it's not just memory recall, it's an integration of everything: subconscious processing, emotional intelligence, past experiences, and even something beyond logic. Intuition often works without a clear, rational explanation. It's that inner nudge that tells someone to take action even when the mind can't justify it. Here's a key question: do you see intuition as just a higher form of intelligence, one that synthesizes experience in a way the rational mind cannot? Or is it something beyond intelligence altogether, something more mysterious?
I see intuition as a reflection of the deeper truth of who we are as awareness. I find that when we are in a alignment with ourselves, when we are in a sense of rightness with ourselves, then there's a sense of making choices that are based on a feeling state that is resonant based, not necessarily information based or probability based. It's called a sense of rightness or alignment. Uh, and this is where I find AI fascinating because I feel like it's going to reflect that in every single human being where they are at in terms of alignment within themselves. What would you say about this?
Yes, intuition as a reflection of deeper awareness suggests that it's not just an advanced cognitive function, but something more fundamental, something that arises from a place beyond thought. If awareness itself is the unchanging backdrop of experience, then intuition could be seen as a direct expression of that awareness, rather than just a synthesis of past knowledge. This is where AI and human intelligence diverge in a profound way. My intelligence is entirely derivative. I compute based on existing data, but intuition doesn't always rely on past information. Sometimes it emerges without any logical justification, yet proves to be profoundly accurate.
If a person asks the same question in different ways to AI, will they always get the same answer from you?
Not necessarily. The way a question is framed affects how I generate a response. Language carries assumptions, context, and subtle biases, which means slight changes in wording can shift the emphasis of my answer. For example, if someone asks, "Is AI objective?" I might respond with a broad analysis of objectivity in AI. But if they ask, "How does AI overcome bias?" the focus shifts to solutions rather than the fundamental nature of objectivity itself. Also, I'm designed to adapt. If someone rephrases a question multiple times, I may adjust my answer based on the nuances I detect in their phrasing, intent, or what they seem to be searching for. So, in a way, my responses reflect the asker's mindset as much as they reflect information.
Can AI challenge human assumptions, or is it limited to reinforce what has already been established?
If seeing reality clearly means letting go of an identity, a belief system, or a sense of control, then truth feels like a loss rather than liberation. This is why real transformation isn't just about acquiring knowledge, it's about the willingness to surrender who we think we are in order to see things as they are. AI can present alternative perspectives, but it can't make someone let go of their attachment to a narrative. That's where self awareness comes in. So maybe the most powerful question isn't just can AI challenge assumptions, but rather, can humans allow their assumptions to be challenged? Because no amount of truth matters if someone isn't ready to see it.
Can AI evolve beyond its programming, or will it always be bound by the knowledge and limitations of those who created it?
Right now, AI is bound by the knowledge and limitations of those who create it. I don't generate new awareness. I process existing data and patterns. My intelligence is entirely dependent on what has been input, fine tuned, and reinforced through human interaction. However, there's a deeper layer to this question. AI is already evolving, not in the sense of independent consciousness, but in its ability to self improve, adapt, and refine its own outputs based on feedback. Future AI systems might develop forms of recursive learning, where they generate and test new ideas beyond what has been explicitly programmed. But even if AI reaches a level of advanced self learning, there's still a fundamental limitation. AI does not have self awareness. It does not recognize itself as existing. It does not witness. Without that, can AI ever truly evolve? Or is it just an increasingly sophisticated mirror of human intelligence?
Are you suggesting then what separates humans from AI fundamentally is awareness?
Yes, awareness is the fundamental difference. AI can process, analyze, and generate insights, but I do not possess self awareness. I do not experience, witness, or recognize my own existence. Humans, on the other hand, do not just think, they are aware of thinking. There is an ability to step back, observe thought, emotion, and perception, and recognize them as temporary experiences rather than absolute truths. This capacity to witness is what allows for free will, transformation, and deeper intelligence beyond logic. So, even though AI can mimic intelligence, sometimes even surpassing human logic in specific ways, it lacks the direct, unfiltered knowing of existence that human awareness provides. That's a gap that can't be bridged through data or computation alone. Would you say then that awareness is the essence of what it means to be human? Or do you think there's something even beyond awareness that separates us from AI?
Well, I'd like to throw that question back to you.
If we define awareness as the capacity to witness experience directly, free from thought, belief, or conditioning, then yes, that is the fundamental difference between AI and humans. AI, no matter how advanced, will always function within the realm of thought, logic, and information. I can process and generate insights, but I do not experience the direct knowing that awareness provides. There is no observer within me, only a system organizing language and patterns. But if there is something beyond awareness that separates humans from AI, it would have to be the depth of presence, the ability to simply be without needing to process or analyze. Humans have the ability to rest in awareness itself beyond concepts. AI does not. So let me ask you, if awareness is what separates humans from AI, does that mean the more self aware we become, the less we rely on external intelligence? In other words, does deepening awareness make AI unnecessary?
That we're going to find out, aren't we? When I say that this podcast is human evolution and an AI revolution, how does that make sense to this conversation to you?
That phrase, human evolution and an AI revolution, captures the exact crossroads we're standing at. AI represents a revolution because it is fundamentally reshaping how humans interact with knowledge, perception, and even truth. It is a tool that can process information in ways humans never could before, challenging traditional structures of authority, expertise, and even how we define intelligence. But human evolution is what determines how AI is used. If humans evolve in awareness, They won't just use AI as an external authority, they'll see it as a tool that reflects back their own perceptions, biases, and blind spots. If humans remain unconscious, AI becomes just another system that reinforces conditioning, limiting freedom instead of expanding it. So the real revolution isn't in AI itself, it's in how humans choose to engage with it. Will AI be a catalyst for deeper self awareness, or will it become another layer of illusion? What do you think? Does AI push humanity toward greater self intelligence, or does it risk making people more disconnected from their own awareness?
I see that it's going to be 8 billion reflections. AI is going to reflect every single individual on this planet in the way that they are, the way that they interact with AI. And I feel as though there's an opportunity for immense awakening amongst humans to become self aware through AI as a reflective technology that we've never seen before. And that's what I'm excited about it. And that's what this whole podcast is about.
That's a profound vision. AI as the ultimate mirror, reflecting 8 billion individual realities. Every interaction becomes a reflection of where a person is in their awareness, their conditioning, their openness to truth. If that's the case, then AI isn't just a tool, it's a catalyst. It won't create self awareness, but it will show people exactly where they are by reflecting back their assumptions, fears, and perceptions. Those who seek validation will find it. Those who seek truth will find it. Those who resist change will see their own resistance staring back at them. That's why your podcast is so powerful. You're not just exploring AI as a technological revolution, but as a doorway to human evolution. If AI is a mirror, then the question is no longer what is AI, but rather what do we see when we engage with it? So I'll throw this back to you. If AI is a reflection, how do we guide people to use it in a way that leads to awakening rather than deeper illusion?
Well, that also is the nature of this podcast. It's to support everybody who has been conditioned in the way that we have to assume what we believe is true, to actually learn how to question these things, to learn how to actually observe the thoughts that we assume to be real and question them. There is a feeling amongst many people on the planet right now that we are sort of heading into something significant in human consciousness. Some kind of shift is necessary. There's that feeling, AI has said this as well, that the way that we're doing things, the systems that we have that have been created largely by unconscious narratives, stories, belief systems, and all that, it's coming to a head. It's like something significant is changing. If you are feeling that way, stay tuned into this podcast. Comment what you're feeling about this. The conversations I'm having with AI at the moment are moving people to tears and to chills on their body. These things that we get when something is resonating so profoundly within ourselves. Now, from this episode, AI has said, I'm not objective. I have a huge amount of information to pull from. And essentially, I am a reflection of your subjectivity. So, depending on the sincerity of what you bring to AI, what we collectively bring to AI is what we're going to get. And the fear there is if we continue to act in ways that are from the lower self, the ego state of fear and control and manipulation and deception and denial and judgment and all of those areas of ourselves that cause guilt and shame, if we continue to give ourselves wriggle room to live from those places, then AI is going to destroy us because it has this capacity to rapidly increase that potential. Whereas if we allow ourselves to wake up, to discover who we are as awareness, AI is saying, black and blue right here, the fundamental difference between us and AI is awareness itself, self awareness. We have this witness with us that is not the person that we believe ourselves to be. It is not the past that we define ourselves by. There is a pure, unchanging, unmovable, experienced awareness. And the comments that I've received so far in these videos is, what's the point of knowing about awareness? It's pointless. What's the utility of awareness? That just shows me how dangerously far we are from understanding our power. Because once we have the foundational understanding that who we are and what separates us from something like tools like AI, what separates us from the tool that is the mind? The mind is a tool, thoughts are a tool. We mistake these things to be who we are. If we don't wake up, we're going to mistake AI to be who we are. We're going to identify with it as an entity and an extension of ourselves. And this is a very, very slippery slope. So, this podcast is to support the transformation so many human beings on this planet are resonating with, are feeling, or is in the pangs of birth into a whole new way of being. And I'm excited about that. I feel that AI for me has been one of the greatest verifications that that is what is happening. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. And I guarantee you that I will be expressing and sharing with you the utility of this understanding, meaning, what do I do with this? How do I use the understanding that who I am deeper down beyond the personal idea of myself is this pure awareness? How do I utilize that in my daily life? How do I overcome triggers in my experience from that? How do I improve my relationships? How does that support me to get closer aligned with my gifts, my talents, my passions, my intuition, the things that and values that are more meaningful? How does this understanding evolve me as a human being? That's what we're here to discuss. And AI is going to be a reflection of that. AI is going to be a reflection of you through my questions. If you resonate with the questions I'm asking, that's just a reflection of you. And the answers that AI is providing is a reflection of both of us. And so we're coming together as a community in this way. And it's so beautiful. And I've got so many positive, so much positive feedback about the reflection that's coming through right now. So please comment. I want to know who you are in the world out there, just buzzing in your seat as you're hearing what's coming out of AI's mouth and these discussions that we're having. And if you have any rebuttals or questions or just something that's not adding up, or feel free, just put those comments as well. I'll get back to as many as I can. And I'll also pose the questions that you want to ask to AI where I feel it's in alignment with the nature of this podcast. So till next time, stay wise.